Evening, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's 6:30. Roll call.
Commissioner Cagle?
Here.
Commissioner Heisler?
Here.
Commissioner Hickey?
Here.
Commissioner Jacobson?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Niesensen?
Here.
Commissioner Dzingum?
Here. Okay, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. First of all, approving the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'd like to remove the Park Initiative Foundation Cardboard Cup Regatta event from the consent agenda.
That's item E.
I would move to second that to second Kathy's motion.
What, you don't need a second to remove from the consent.
Anybody opposed to approving the agenda as amended? Hearing none, that's the agenda. Public hearing or property?
Yep, so that's good there.
Okay, so we're going to start the public meeting for the property tax increase for the Crystal Lake Park District. So I want to call this meeting to order. The order is to consider the proposed property tax levy increase under the Illinois Truth in Taxation Law as was presented in a recent newspaper advertisement. So basically, your taxes are going to go up about 7.9% that the Park District is levying. The required public notice was published correctly in the Northwest Herald newspaper within the specified time frame and met formatting requirements. In addition, a 30-day Crystal Lake Park District website posting of the advertisement as a best practice. The 2025 proposed tax levy of $8,469,882.18 is a 6.27% increase over the 2024 levy of $7,969,463.93, an increase exceeding 5% compared to the previous year. So at this time, I'd like to open it up to the public. If anyone would like to have anything to say about the tax increase that we're going to levy, and you'll get 3 minutes each if anybody would like to speak.
My name is Tom Brady. I come from the Stearns Woods part of the Park District. I am in favor of the tax increase, and I think that the president has misstated what this board did the last time. As I recall, Mr. Hickey recommended a 2.9% increase in the tax rate, and the president continues to misstate that, calling it at one point a 7.9 or something, and then a 5.6. I think we should have some truth in terms of what the taxation is that the Park District is proposing. And we also know that we need to have some sustainable tax generation for this Park District for the programs and the increasing costs. So I hope a majority of this board will approve what you recommended last week or last meeting.
So the overall amount that we're asking for is 6.279, which includes new growth as well, on top of the 2.9%, just so it's clear.
So it's a 2.9% increase in the levy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, yes.
But it's in effect of almost a 7% tax increase that you're getting from, just so everybody knows. And I know that you guys want that, but you just need to know we're trying to be truthful with you. And this is the truth in taxation statement, because part of the amount gets increased despite what we levy on you.
And whatever we're above what the county allows will be dialed back down. So the 6.279 will probably be dialed down based on the new growth.
There was a 2.79% increase that was recommended, and then there was basically a rollover of something else, like what was the second part of the taxation which you went?
The new growth.
The new growth.
Correct.
So that's what, and new growth is exactly what? Is that new properties coming into our community?
Correct.
Okay, so the increase on the existing residents in this community is 2.9%?
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, Eric, you want to address that? Because that's not quite true.
Yeah, so the Illinois has a Truth in Taxation Act, and the statement was published. It goes through the aggregate levy except for the debt service extension base from last year, what was extended, compares it to this year, and then it compares the debt service extension base levied last year and the proposed this year, and then it does the total, and it gives a percentage. So whatever that percentage is, Tina has it. The final percentage was what?
The full percentage is 6.279%.
So that's what they're levying this year compared to what was extended last year.
But the
For the
increase
truth
in
in
the levy is
taxation.
2.9%, and the rest of the levy is affixed to new growth. Is that correct, Mr. Anderson?
That's not. That's a
Okay, so
very
you're-
superficial understanding of it.
Is it
Well-
correct or isn't it?
Well-
Incorrect.
Well, let's ask Tina.
The 2.9% is the CPI adjustment, and on the funds that are capped, the percentage on that increase is 3.94%. So the difference between those two is attributable to the new growth property.
And then the additional increase in that percentage has to do with the special recreation fund, correct?
Special
Yeah, the
recreation,
special rec
that's
fund.
what-
Which is capped, well, it's not capped, we can levy as much as 4 cents.
What is the special recreation fund for?
Special Recreation Fund supports our dues to NISRA, pays for our inclusion staff for people with special needs in our programs, and then also pays for ADA projects that the Park District accomplishes.
So it does what it sort of sounds like it does.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from the public? Okay. Any comments from the commissioners? Okay, then we'll close the hearing, and we'll proceed. Okay, now we're going to move on to matters from the public, if anybody would like to speak tonight.
Someone go grab the signage.
Good evening, President Tisinga, Commissioners, and fellow residents. Tonight, as a concerned citizen, I come to you with cautious hope. Over recent months, I've raised concerns about decisions that tried to narrow who is heard and who is served. But tonight, there are reasons to celebrate. The intergovernmental agreement between the City of Crystal Lake, Lakewood, and the Park District was reinstated. This agreement is more than a document. It's a symbol of cooperation and shared responsibility that benefits all residents. It's also heartening to see the board making fiscally prudent choices. President Tisinga's push to freeze taxes did not pass last month. This modest increase ensures the Park District can maintain programs, staff, and services without struggling next year. Sometimes, a small increase is the smart, proactive choice. But there are still choices before us that demand careful attention. Some board members, including President Tisinga, are lakefront residents and members of the Shoreline Property Owners Association. They have participated in votes that limit the Park District's authority over lake matters. As a taxpayer, I'm deeply concerned that decisions affecting shared resources should serve everyone, not just a select few. Transparency and recusal, where conflicts exist, are essential to restore public trust. There's also a practical way the board could demonstrate fiscal responsibility, perhaps talking about meeting security costs. Over the past 2 months, nearly $3,800 per meeting was spent on extra security. Don't get me wrong, safety is important, but these measures seem disproportionate to the actual risks. Scaling back would save taxpayer dollars while maintaining safety. Isn't it time we put smart, practical choices ahead of unnecessary expenses? We still have work to do. Transparency, Accountability and inclusion must guide this board. But tonight I do see progress, and that gives me hope. When a board listens, evolves, and respects residents, trust can be rebuilt. So I will keep showing up, I will keep asking questions, and I will support commissioners who lead with openness, fairness, and care for all of Crystal Lake. Because, like so many other residents here, I love this park district. Thank you.
Okay, Bruce Mazurkowitz. Bruce Mazurkowitz.
Members of the Crystal Lake Park District Board, residents of Crystal Lake, I stand before you tonight not just as a taxpayer, but as a deeply concerned citizen demanding accountability. This park district is meant to be an asset to our community, yet a majority of this board has exerted a malignant influence that undermines public trust and squanders public funds. Before I address the failings, let me recognize the few. To Kathy Cagle, Michael Jacobson, and Karen Johnson, your principled actions and standing for what is right have demonstrated true profiles and courage. You are setting the standard for integrity, and the community sees you. The legacy of mismanagement. To the rest of the board, if nothing else concerns you, you should be deeply concerned about your legacy. Not just your political legacy here, but your personal one. What will your sons, your daughters, your nephews or nieces read when they look up your service to this community? The truth is, recent actions are painting a picture of malfeasance. Using public funds to treat weeds on private property, that's not an error, that is a violation of public trust. And let's talk about legal counsel. You've not only hired an attorney who by all accounts does not rise to the caliber of our previous representation, but you have doubled the going rate to pay him. This is financially irresponsible, unjustifiable, and insulting to every hardworking person in Crystal Lake. Financial hypocrisy and unnecessary spending. You often express deep concern about the burden on the taxpayer, citing a supposed 5% taxation rate that you oppose. This concern rings utterly hollow when contrasted with your actions. Without blinking an eye, you have approved massive, unnecessary security measures that will burden taxpayers for years. We are talking about $3,800 per month, every month, over the next 4 years. That unnecessary expenditure will cost the citizens of Crystal Lake a staggering $182,400. You cannot claim to protect the taxpayer while simultaneously authorizing this kind of reckless discretionary spending. The demand for immediate change. As citizens of Crystal Lake, we are done requesting. We are demanding a halt to this financial excess. We demand all current security measures in place be immediately halted and decommissioned, or if you believe they are truly necessary, that you keep them in place at your personal expense. Do not force the taxpayer to foot the bill for security necessitated by poor conduct. It is sad that the majority of this board is divined by timid souls, lacking the fortitude to stand up for the community's best interests over their own. But know this, the time for timid stewardship is over. The community is watching,
Bruce,
and we
can
demand
you wrap it
courage,
up?
integrity, and fiscal responsibility now. I was speaking. Thank you.
I was letting you know you're- So this is your right to come here and talk, but it's not your right to be disrespectful. We're giving everybody 3 minutes, and I'll let you know when the 3 minutes is up. I don't need to be talked to in that tone, so thank you.
I was not disrespectful to you. I was not disrespectful.
Okay, so the next person is K.L. Daly.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Daly, and I'm a resident of Crystal Lake. I've been on other community boards. I've been coming to these open meetings since this new group has been installed. I've been surprised and actually shocked at what I've seen and heard. I will start with legal counsel, whoever that may be. Under Illinois Park Code 70, legal counsel has the duty to address any legal matters such as drafting legal counsels, documents, any litigation, responding to FOIA inquiries, advising on legal matters, and keeping current with any municipal laws. The CL Park District General Practice Manual for Attorneys, policy number 7.7, states basically the same thing. The current legal counsel has charged double the fees from the previous counsel, and he and his firm do not specialize in municipal law. Any legal counsel should not interrupt any board member when they are discussing issues. Any legal counsel should not ask questions during presentations. The last meeting, it was stated that no question should be asked until after the complete presentation. While the proposed budget presentation was going on, counsel interrupted at least 3 to 4 times, questioning. That's not the attorney's job. The attorney is not a board member. Any legal counsel that tries to influence board members is way out of bounds. Legal counsel has no reason to speak other than legal issues. An attorney is not an elected board member. He is an employee. Actually, there's no reason why any legal counsel needs to sit at the table with the board. He should be accessible, but that he should not disturb the meeting. I would suggest strongly that you obtain Robert's rules and how a meeting should be run. The president is running the meeting, no doubt about that. The attorney is not the leader. The president is having trouble running something, the other board members should help him out. The other job of the president is if there's a tie on any issue, he gets the vote that breaks the tie. Giving the community only 30 minutes in a month for input is unacceptable. If this group would follow the meeting plan of Robert's Rules, you would have to acknowledge more time for the input of the community. Yes,
Ma'am, your 3 minutes are up.
yeah, sometimes it would be disruptive, but not. You have been voted into office for non-paying positions. The community is depending on you to take care of the parks and lakes. If you can't or don't want to do that, then you're doing a huge disservice to yourself and the community, which my family has been part of for 5 generations.
Okay, Debbie Gallagher. Debbie Gallagher.
Hello. Hi. I'm Debbie Gallagher. I'm a resident. And I would like to sincerely thank you for continuing the Lake Ecology IGA with the city and the village. I feel this will continue to best serve the community and the health of the lake into the future. I would also respectfully request that the Lake Ecology Advisory Committee become a Citizens Advisory Committee of the Park District. Hires the lake consultant for it through corporate taxes. The user fees, the boat sticker revenue, only pays for invasive weed treatment and weed harvesting. I do not believe the Shoreline Property Owners Association would be interested in absorbing the expense of the consultant. The Lake Ecology Advisory Committee should feel comfortable meeting with the lake consultant without concern of a cost to the SPOA. As a committee of the Park District, it would be appropriate for the committee to meet with the consultant and Park District staff. While the contract is approved by the Park Board, it's the executive director's job to oversee the work. It's not appropriate for the president to give the consultant any direction unless he or she is specifically requested to by a motion and a vote of the entire board. There's also the matter of public perception. When 4 shoreline property owners turn a committee over to an association that they are part of, it appears very self-serving. A Park District Committee serves all the people. Its actions would be for the public good and health of the lake for all residents, not just the few that live on the lake. I would also request that a few members of the committee be present when the board or staff review and interview a new company to serve as lake consultant. I think this will enhance communication going forward. I thank you very much and appreciate all of your time and your consideration.
Tom Burney is next. Tom Burney?
Mr. President, I'd ask 2 additional minutes for my comments of understanding the rules from the last meeting, so I'm not cut off at 3 minutes. So I believe I could present that motion if somebody would on the board for 2 additional minutes for my public comment. I believe I'm the last one to comment. We're not anywhere close to the 30-minute limit that's been set.
I would like to hear, Tom, I'd like to hear at least 5 minutes worth of comments.
Is there a second?
I would second that.
Okay, let's vote.
Commissioner Cagle?
Yes.
Commissioner Heisler? Yes. Commissioner Hickey?
Yeah.
Commissioner Jacobson?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neesensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Tazinga?
No vote.
Thank you.
Okay, go
Thank you,
ahead, 5
members of the
minutes.
board.
Start the clock.
Thank you. There's a few things that have been said already tonight that I just want to reiterate. It's time to bring the metal detectors down. This was a unilateral decision made by the president. It's sometimes hard to hear who it came from, but I don't think that there's anybody else on this board that fears for their safety with this gentle crowd that sits behind me. The talk was that when the passions cooled down. Well, I think that with Nissensen's suggestion 2 meetings ago to clear the air about what this district intended to do about access, about how much it costs to get on the lake, I think the passions have cooled down a lot. So I would ask you at the next meeting to put an agenda item on to remove the extra security and to remove the metal detectors. It's oppressive that we should have to come to our meeting and be metal detected. A second comment was made about Eric Anderson and his behavior at the last meeting. I happen to have been a municipal attorney for 10 years. And something that I learned is that municipal attorneys, whether they're at a park district or a village, mine was Palatine, that they're seen and they're not heard. They are only heard when a specific question is directed at them. And I think that Mr. Anderson has lost sight of the fact that he's no longer a board member and that his interruptions of the wonderful presentation that the finance person made the other night they were irrelevant and they just were a distraction. So I would ask that somebody pull him aside and remind him of what his duties are. Another issue that Carolyn Schofield brought up at the last meeting was the issue of Mr. Tasenga taking 2 homestead exemptions, one for his manse over in Oak Brook Terrace, and the second here in Crystal Lake. And I'm not sure if the assessor can go back to 24, 23, 22, or maybe it's 21, and reverse that. But as a member of this board, a tax fighter, as Mr. Tasenga says, he is cheating every one of the taxing districts that he lives in. And that is not a good look for the man that holds himself out as the president of the Park District. And I know it's hard. I know you guys have relationships with him. But if he won't resign, then the least he can do is pay the money back because he's not entitled. None of us are entitled to 2 homestead exemptions. So that's that. I want to commend all of you, or most of you, for the turnaround at the last meeting. Mr. Hickey showed the ability to find compromise in terms of a sustainable tax increase. Mr. Nissenson, I know that it was a hard pill to swallow, but we appreciate that you changed your vote to make this happen. And as many people have said, we think that the corner has been turned in terms of this, and we'd like to move together with you, help you, not fight you. And so really from the bottom of my heart, who's been an arch critic, I thank the two of you for taking leadership on that. The last issue I want to talk about, Nissenson says the last time that the Park District has gotten out of its lane when they adopted the pier ordinance. And I've given that some thought. And the four of you are in a perfect position right now to craft a pier ordinance that will serve the people on the North Shore in a way that works. We know the park, we know the city's not going to do it. We know Lakewood's not going to do it. I ask people at the SPOA, and they go, I don't want to get involved in these internecine fights, but what are you going to do when people start putting their piers in a way that is interfering with their neighbor in terms of being able to get in and out of their boats or their piers or docks? What are you going to do when somebody decides to put a pier deep into the lake like we one time saw a few years ago when that boat was sticking out in the middle of the lake? You need a pier ordinance, and if the Park District didn't get it right the first time, I suggest that you craft or put together a study committee to come up with an ordinance, because otherwise, I'm a zoning attorney, and I know all about legal non-conforming uses. And it's going to happen that somebody is going to put a pier in a location and then claim, this is a legal non-conforming use, and you can't make me move it. And that is going to be a lake war. That's where Eric Anderson and his wild
Okay,
talk
thank
about
you. Your
lake
5
wars
minutes are up now,
goes
Mr. Bernie.
forward. So
Thank you very much for your time.
now I'm going to thank the board before I leave for your service and for the compromises that you have made. Thank you.
Okay, any unfinished business from the board? I'm hearing there's no unfinished business. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. First of all, approval of the voucher expenses for the month ending October 31, 2025, in the amount of $575,608.62. Approval of the interim voucher expenses for the month ending November 30th, 2025, in the amount of $147,542.36. Accept the treasurer's report for the month ending October 31, 2025, in the amount of $17,587,568.42, and approval of the regular meeting minutes from 10/20/25. Anybody
I move
opposed?
to approve.
Is there a second?
I will make a second on that motion.
Roll call.
Commissioner Heisler? Yes. Commissioner Hickey?
Approve all accepted voucher expenses for month end October 31st, excluding Charles River.
Commissioner Jacobson?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neesenson?
Yes.
Commissioner Cagle?
Yes.
Commissioner Dizinga?
No vote. Okay, now items that were removed from the consent agenda, we'll talk about the Park Initiative Foundation Cardboard Boat Regatta.
Yes, this is the second time that, I think this is the third regatta, but paragraph 1, 2, 3, paragraph 3, it says that they request that the $5 per person, that admission be waived on that date. And we amended their request last time they did it to say we would charge that fee beginning at 3 o'clock. So that after the regatta basically was over, we would go back to our normal fee structure for getting in. And I would like to amend approval of this request so that we can do that again. We can charge admission at 3 or 3:30, whatever staff feels is the right time.
So are you making a motion?
Pardon?
Are you making that as a motion?
Yes,
Okay, is there a second?
I will second Kathy's motion.
Okay. Roll call?
Commissioner Jacobson?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neesensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Cagle?
yes,
Commissioner Heisler?
Yes.
Commissioner Hickey?
Yes.
Commissioner Tazinga?
No vote. So that passes. Moving on to agenda items, ordinance 25.26.06, annual rollover bond series 2025.
So you have before you tonight the annual rollover bonds that were out to bid last Thursday. Aaron Gold is here from Spear Financial to give us the rundown on how that process went, and then we will approve the ordinance to issue those bonds and wrap up the process. Aaron, thanks for being here.
Evening, everyone. Again, my name's Aaron Gold, Independent Municipal Advisor from Spear Financial. Jason and Tina have invited me out to present the results of the sale of the district's general obligation, Limited Tax Park Bond Series 2025. We held a competitive sale last Thursday where we received 6 bids. The low bid was a 3.01% net interest cost bid from Time Bank, Park Ridge, Illinois. The second place bid was a 3.15% bid from Crystal Lake Bank and Trust. These bonds issued as your annual rollover bonds are general obligation limited tax. So general obligation means that principal and interest is paid for by a direct property tax levy, but that it's limited or constrained. The first limit is how much of this type of debt the district can have outstanding in total. And then the second limit is how much the district is authorized to levy each year to repay the principal and interest when due. The reason we call these annual rollover bonds is because they're one-year issues designed to fill one levy at a time. So specifically with this structure, we are looking at closing in 2 weeks on November 25th with a final maturity on December 15th of 2026. Based on the final winning interest rate from Time Bank, we were able to increase the issue size by $13,175 to $1,314,065 to fully utilize the district's 25 bond and interest levying capacity. Framing this interest rate of 3.01%, this is down 66 basis points from last year's rollover bid. Over the same time period, the one-year treasury has declined by 60 basis points to 3.71%. And in total, net rollover proceeds increased by $50,481, or approximately 4% over the prior rollover issue. So a very strong sales process. I therefore recommend that the district's general obligation limited tax park bond series 2025 be awarded to Time Bank, Park Ridge, Illinois, revised price of $1,314,065 at a net interest cost of 3.01%. Always a pleasure working on this issue. If you have any questions at all, I'm here to help. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Any questions? All right, I guess. So is there a motion to approve that? Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Jacobson?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neesensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Cagle?
yes,
Commissioner Heisler?
Yes.
Commissioner Hickey?
Yes.
Commissioner Tazinga?
No vote. Okay, ordinance 25.26.07, 2025 tax levy.
So this is just the ordinance approving the tax levy that was settled on the amount at our last board meeting. So it's the formality of approving the ordinance, which will then be filed with the county for the upcoming year.
So you want to make a motion?
I move to approve the ordinance 25.26.07, the 2025 tax levy.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neesensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Cagle?
Yes,
Commissioner Heisler?
No.
Commissioner Hickey?
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tazinga?
No. Okay, that passes. IAPD annual credentials.
So all this is every year in January, the Illinois Association of Park Districts has their annual meeting down at the state conference, and we have to send a delegate to that meeting. It's normally me, and we have Tina as the alternate, so you're simply just approving sending Tina and I to that meeting. So, and approval is,
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the annual credentials at the IAPD.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, let's have roll call.
Commissioner Neesensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cagle,
Yes.
Commissioner Heisler,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickey,
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobson,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tazinga.
No vote. Next is annual recommendations.
All right, I'm going to turn this over to Kurt. What we do every year is, there's certain areas of our operations that we provide the board with an update on dates for the upcoming year for those operations, along with the fees to be charged for those services at those facilities or areas of the park district. So Kurt will run through each one of those. In your packets, you should have seen the information that was presented as far as what the recommended changes are. The items that are struck out, they're replaced with the new information for the upcoming year. And Kurt will run through those and answer any questions you might have, and we'll just turn it over to Kurt.
All right, thanks, Jason. As Jason mentioned, this is something that we do annually every year in November, where we present the board with recommendations from the staff. Really what we're looking for when we sit down as staff to come up with these fees and operational changes is we try to make sure, one, that we're covering all of our operational costs. We want to make sure that we're setting prices that are still competitive in the marketplace. And we also want to keep in mind that we're not trying to gouge our residents by any stretch. We want to make sure we're still providing affordable options for recreation in Crystal Lake for our families. So as Jason said, I'm going to run through these tonight. I'm going to try to keep it moving and be economical with our time. I don't want to sit here and read everything line by line to you guys as you've already had these. But as I'm going through them, as you have questions, please make sure to let me know. I feel that we've done a really good job between staff recommendations and board approval over the past few years, coming up with some good pricing plans. We've been having a really successful year. So looking forward to continuing that. We don't necessarily raise prices in all areas every year. This year, as you look through them, you may have noticed there are several areas where there is either a minimal change or no pricing changes whatsoever. A big reason that there are limited changes this year is over the past few years, we've had some pretty significant price increases. As we came out of COVID, during COVID, we kind of kept prices static in a lot of areas, but also over the past few years, minimum wage has gone up $1 every single year. And as we have facilities like the beach, for example, that is heavily reliant upon part-time staff or staff members that might be their first job, these entry-level jobs, that minimum wage cost had a big impact on the operations. So this year, with no minimum wage impact and the fact that I think we've done very well, we're pretty confident in the prices that we're recommending. We'll continue to support kind of the overall bottom line that we have for the district. So that being said, I'll jump right into the first one on the list. And Jason, I'll just go down these 1 to 7.
And what we'll do is we'll approve each set, so when Kurt's done with the beaches, we'll ask the board for their approval on that, and that way, because if there's changes, we're going to approve them as amended. Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. So as we look at Main and West Beach, we're not really recommending any price changes for the beaches. Our big price increases we've had over the past few years mainly relate to the non-resident admission fee that is currently one of the highest in the area. So we feel that that's still pretty, it's a number we don't want to continue to raise. The one operational change that I want to make sure the board is aware of is we are looking to move our swim lesson program from Main Beach over to West Beach. What we have seen over the past 2 years is, especially this last summer, is an explosion in our camp program. So we averaged 542 campers at Main Beach last summer. So when you mix that in as they're trying to get out of their swim lessons with the general public that has paid for their swim lessons, it just created a parking nightmare. It created a headache for the staff to watch everybody in the water. And kind of a blessing in disguise, I guess, when we had the bacteria issues and we couldn't do swim lessons here at Main Beach, we had them at West Beach, And the feedback was, hey, this is kind of nice. It's not as crazy it is over in Main Beach. And so what we're looking to do is kind of alter the swimming hours an hour so that instead of having West Beach open and nobody or very minimal people using it, we can move our swim lesson program over there. So we're actually maximizing the usage there, making things a little bit easier operationally wise here, and it's kind of a win-win for everybody at that point. But as it might give the appearance that there's more people using West Beach in the mornings, I wanted to make sure the board was aware. So that's really the only large-scale change that we have for beaches.
Kurt, I'd like to make one comment. I like your idea of removing dusk from the closing of Main Beach, because that's always been, what is dusk?
What is dusk?
But the only concern I have is the late start time at noon. I don't think that 6 p.m. time is an issue, but I just think that some people, you know, if they want to come and bring their family and have lunch and stuff like that, noon is a little bit, I don't know. I think 11 would be more appropriate, but other than that.
Yeah, and the change from 11, and again, as we'll talk about these, none of these changes obviously are set in stone. We're open to discussion on any of them. When we alter that time just a little bit, it helps with the staffing model so that we can make it in one shift as opposed to two.
Yeah.
So that was kind of some of the thought process behind that, but.
And that's just West Beach, correct?
Correct, just West Beach.
I just think you might have a little bit of pushback from the public on that, but other than that, it's fine.
Okay, any other discussion on that? Okay.
We could just do an all in favor. We don't need a roll call, so.
Is anybody opposed? Okay, next item.
All right, moving right along, we will move into our picnic building and field rentals. This is an area that we have experienced considerable growth in over the past several years. We have made several investments into our facilities. We have put new flooring in multiple areas. We have put new countertops in multiple areas. You'll see we have a new bar that we put in a few years ago at Main Beach, and we've really seen that those investments into these properties or into these facilities are really getting us more rentals and reservations. So for this year, we're looking to make some changes for the Rotary Building. Rotary Building has become our most popular rental destination. This year, we put new floors, new counters, new lighting, new shades. So that one I feel is warranted, where we could increase the price while still being competitive in the marketplace. And then when it comes to weddings, we continue to see the demand for weddings here. I pulled a month at random next year. We have 4 weddings booked in June already. So the wedding numbers are really starting to see that increase. And with a lot of the rental numbers, while they'll go into effect next year, a lot of them won't actually be applied until the year 2027, as those people that have already booked their wedding for next year, we're not going to go back to them and say, hey, you owe us an extra few $100s because we changed the pricing. So it'll be for those people that are looking to have their wedding or their big event in 2027. But this is an area that the board has been very supportive of in the past, in the operations, giving us that opportunity to improve these facilities to provide a better experience for the customers.
Any discussion about that?
Yeah, I do. And Kirk probably knows which one I'm gonna, under shelters, the weekday rentals, I thought we had agreed on $20. It's, here is $60 again.
Good catch. That should be $20.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll make sure we get that changed.
And I've got a question.
Sure.
It says under building and room rentals, note rentals may be booked one at a time only. What does that mean and why?
What we've tried to get away from, or at least give the flexibility to Anthony, is if you came in and said, hey, I want to make a large-scale booking, it's mainly more so that Anthony has something in there so that he can kind of say, hey, I'll take this rental, but we may have to address others as we move forward.
Okay, thank you.
As a general rule, if somebody wants to give us their money, we're going to take it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it meant they had to go out the door and then come back.
No, try to make it as easy as possible.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, anybody opposed to approval? Hearing none? Okay. The Racket Club.
The Racket Club, this is an area that considerable financial, we've taken a deep dive into the financials on this many times over the past several years. We had a consultant come out and give us some feedback. We also, as part of a board process a couple years ago, instituted a 5-year plan with incremental increases in multiple areas. This is one where there is changes this year for memberships, private lessons, and classes. However, this was all part of the plan that the board approved a few years ago. Last year, we had fees, or we had increases at the Racket Club for membership fees, class fees, private lesson rates, guest fees, court rental charges. So this is one where we have kind of seen a continued escalation in the rates that the Racket Club members and participants pay out there. This is one of the funds that also helps support the rest of the funds. There's money that is transferred from the Racket Club to help offset costs in different funds. It's been a fund that has been, over the past several years, producing very well for us, and this is just the next year 3 of the plan.
Any discussion about that?
I think the rates look good. I'm thrilled that it's continuing to do so well. I know this is nitpicky and I apologize, but on the first paragraph, it says an annual transfer of $60,000 to the capital improvement plan through 2029. It makes it sound like after 2029, there may not be a transfer. You know, I mean, it could just say, and continue as appropriate or something.
And just to clear, that's a good point, but that's to clarify, that's the 60,000, it's the 60,000 a year that we, for the outdoor court improvements, that was what, the 800,000?
Right.
That's the date we would have that paid off, but if that money's still available, we'll still be transferring it.
Right.
Yep.
If somebody
Or
came
more.
and read this, it would sound like
We're cutting it off.
stopped.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody opposed to approving? Hearing none? Okay.
As we move to the golf center, this is an area, again, with a lot of minimum wage workers that over the past few years, we have seen some considerable increases in the group rate replays. We've added fundraisers and in the non-resident rate. This fund, again, has done very well for itself, and we've used some of the excess dollars that we had to reinvest into the facility, where we put down new carpet on all of the holes. We redid the deck out there. We added some new, some needed equipment for the staff to do their jobs. This year, we are just making minimal changes to the price of driving range, bucket of balls. We're also doing some updates to kind of simplify things for the birthday parties to make it a little bit easier for the end user.
Any discussion? Okay, anybody opposed to approving? Hearing none? Well, that's approved. Houndtown.
Houndtown, there's really no changes at all to Houndtown. Houndtown is something that we have seen the numbers, it's one of the few areas where we've seen the numbers dip a little bit, so we are not adding any real amenities out there, so I don't think at this time would be appropriate to raise any rates. The idea of looking at Houndtown and what can we do to make it better, that's something that we talk about and may even be part again of this next budget cycle, but at this point, there's no changes recommended.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to request staff to look at the dog park rules and perhaps update them. In particular, it says unneutered males over the age of 6 months are not allowed inside of the dog park, while veterinary recommendations for neutering for males has changed quite a bit. For large dogs, it might happen at 18 months or 2.5 years, depending on the dog. So I think we need to make the rules reflect current veterinary trends. And also, I question the wolves or wolf hybrids. I don't see anything really going on anymore about breed-specific concerns about dog parks. So I'd say we could take that out, but I would leave it up to staff to please take a look and see if you can bring those in to update them, basically.
Yeah, we can definitely take a look at those, especially with some of the other communities around us having dog parks. We can follow up on that for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Anybody opposed to approving as with the changes? Hearing none, that's approved. Boat launch Fisherman Gate key fobs.
So I'll take that one. We're not recommending any changes in that area this year. Pull that up. I'm sorry, is that mine?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll send that one back over to you.
I'm like, hold on a sec. So we're not recommending any changes in the boat launch area or the lake usage decals. I'll lump those two together. Regarding the lake usage decals, we met with the city in Lakewood 2 weeks ago, and being that we're anticipating a large milfoil treatment to occur in the lake this year, similar to what was done 3 years ago, we will most likely use the bulk of the fund balance for that treatment if it's anywhere near the size of what we did 3 years ago. So we're not going to change the fees for the stickers this year. We'll use the fund balance and then whatever's generated this year, and then we'll reevaluate again at the end of next season. So we anticipate everything with the boat launch and the lake usage decals to remain the same. Other than, I'm just going to mention this, sailboats are classified as a non-human powered craft, so we do charge a fee. When the city was selling the stickers, there was a fee charged, and we've continued with that. We had some pushback on it this year because the argument was it's not motor powered, it's wind powered, but according to the DNR categories, this is a non-human powered watercraft. So I don't know if the board has any thoughts or feelings on that, but
Well, I
just
think-
letting you know in case you hear about it.
I think the thing about the sticker prices, we don't really set those anyway. That's the city and the village. We can make a recommendation, but they would be the ones setting that price. Any other discussion about that?
I have a question. For a while, we had a problem with the walk-in Fisherman Gate not closing. Is that taken care of?
I believe it is.
I'm looking at,
And
let's
then
put it this
we
way.
switched it to fobs,
Yeah.
so it's a different
and-
locking mechanism, so it's no longer an issue.
The fact that I haven't heard much about it tends to believe yes.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody opposed to as amended? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Rescind action to remove lake ecology.
So this was a carryover from last meeting. It was asked to be put on the agenda, so.
Could we, before we dig into this, could we please have Greg Kobylinski come up and explain to us what the SPOA would like to do with the committees?
You mean Greg, the president of the SPOA?
Now, good evening. I think a few months back, the Park District chose to change the designation from the Lake Ecology Committee that was represented by some lakefront property owners and also residents of the Park District. So it was kind of a combined committee. And they chose to change the designation of that committee from an advisory committee and chose to select the SPOA to take that role. The SPOA was very honored to do that, but we don't have an ecology committee. We have 160 homes around the lake, and we have a lot of knowledge of what's going on the lake and around the lake, but we aren't focused on ecology. So at our last meeting, it was suggested that perhaps the board might want to consider making that ecology committee back to being the advisory committee on ecology, and we would be very pleased and honored to simply be a lake advisory committee advising on everything generally around the lake, not only ecology. We've done that over the years informally, but we felt that it would be more appropriate to have the Citizens Lake Ecology Committee designated as the Ecology Advisory Committee, and the SPOA simply a Lake Advisory Committee.
So that would be two separate committees then?
Yes, and I think it was discussed before that the Park District can have as many advisory committees as they want. So that was our recommendation. I think it would satisfy all parties.
Okay, any other discussion?
Can you change the name of your committee? I mean, to the Citizen Lake Ecology Committee, is that, can
What-
that be
Yeah, I mean, it was in the paper when the Park District disenfranchised that committee, there was a bit of an uproar, and somebody in the paper dubbed us the Citizens Lake Ecology Committee, and to distinguish from the SPOA Ecology Committee, which doesn't exist.
Sorry, Greg, so can you say the two names of the committee that you're recommending?
Can I say what?
The names of the two committees?
Well, I think, I would recommend the Park District to have a Lake Ecology Committee. That was formed 6 or 7 years ago by the Park District, and that, I would recommend that the Park District go back to designating them as the advisory committee.
Okay.
And I would also suggest that the SPOA is well-positioned to simply be a lake advisory committee, which would not focus strictly on ecology, but generally around the lake.
I understand. Great.
Greg, are you the president of the SPOA?
Yes,
And are you the president of the Lake Ecology Committee?
yes,
So you're the president of both committees?
yes. There's not too much fighting between those committees.
So I put this on the agenda because as of last meeting, I was concerned about the lack of transparency that had gone on when it was voted to take the Lake Ecology Advisory Committee away from the Park District and make it a committee of the SPOA. Since that time, I understand that Jason Heisler and Fred Tusinger are no longer officers of SPOA. But at the time this vote was made, they were. And it was not disclosed in the fact that Eric Anderson, our attorney, was also an officer of SPOA. The public has clearly asked us time and time again to be transparent and to be clear. And so I asked, as part of the recusal discussion last meeting, that for a vote to rescind the action that was taken because this information was not available to us and to the public at the time the vote was taken. In light of the fact that our board members and our attorney are no longer officers, and the fact that the SPOA has clearly said it would be better if the Park District, that the Lake Ecology Advisory Committee, probably the same people on it, fell under the Park District and not SPOA, I move to rescind the action to remove the Lake Ecology Advisory Committee as an advisory committee to the Crystal Lake Park District and make a committee of the SPOA. And if we vote this way, then it just basically undoes what was done before, and the Ecology Committee moves back as an official committee of the Park District.
Okay, is there a second?
I will second that motion.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Commissioner Hickey?
I'm abstaining.
Commissioner Jacobson?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neesensen?
No.
Commissioner Cagle?
Yes?
Commissioner Heisler?
No.
Commissioner Tizinga?
No.
Motion fails.
Okay. Next is reports to the board. Any reports to the board?
Eric, do you have anything?
Yeah, so if there's any board members that have an issue or a question regarding my style, please give me a call.
Okay. Any other reports to the board?
I just have a couple quick updates. I emailed everyone information regarding the state conference down in Chicago in January. If you're interested in attending, please let me know and we'll get you signed up here soon. And then Rich, Jason, and Fred, if you could stick around, we've got several documents for you guys to sign with the bond issuance and Eric to notarize. That's all I've got. Tina, anything?
Nothing to add.
Kurt?
I was just going to say, we've had a lot of really good special events lately with our Trunk or Treat, our Puzzle Palooza, our wagon rides, but we've got one coming up December 6th. It is our annual Luminaria. If you guys have not been a part of the Luminaria, it is a walk through Veterans Acres. It is one of the coolest things that we do. It is totally free, so just want to throw a little plug in for Luminaria on December 6th. That was all.
Jenny?
Nothing beyond what's in the board report. Just we have a few upcoming publications, including a winter spring guide that will go live December 12th.
Eric?
Nothing to add tonight.
Amy?
Nothing to add tonight, thank you.
Officer O'Hara?
I've always got some ideas.
You got 3 minutes.
Okay. Last meeting, I talked a little bit about a proactive response, about things that happened all around us. So I wanted to share a couple of numbers to give you some context. Crystal Lake City, as of last Friday, has 21,250 police calls. The Village of Lakewood has 2,441. That's a total of 23,691 police calls, all things that are happening all around us, and we've had 463. So we want our number as low as possible. So of that average of 2,153 a month, we're not tracking how many of those are significant enough and in the area of parks to warrant a proactive response, but it is a significant number. Another item in the board packet, Eric tracks vandalism, we call that criminal damage to property, on 59 park areas, and you'll notice there's only 2 incidents of vandalism across those 59 park areas. So our high identity patrol, that's a number we try to keep to 0, and we got it, we're at 2, so we felt like that was pretty good. A couple events, the truck or treat that Kurt mentioned, we had 2 officers there. We also had 2 officers at the Super Sleuths at the Palmer House. They called us, the kids called us in to help solve a mystery, and they solved it without us. We also have a police program that we're going to be implementing, and it's again involving kids, crime scene processing. So we're going to add a lot of realism to it and actually process a crime scene to try and solve a mystery. I've got another thing that's a little bit outside of updates, but to better acquaint the board with some of what the Park Police does, I have some details of a historic property with some mystery and intrigue. So, Mr. President, if that's appropriate, I could share the mystery.
Please share. We'd be
Okay,
interested
the
to
mystery
hear.
and intrigue. So the Park District had, for about 20 years, a property called Park Place. So it was sold, I think, in about 2018. The Park District bought the property in 1998 from the American Legion. The American Legion bought the property in 1946. When they bought it, they did some improvements in the building, including an armory in the basement with concrete walls and a big heavy steel door that was locked. Over the years, that armory door remained locked. The American Legion people told us that it was empty, it was decommissioned. That was the belief. And then as the property, it was contemplated to sell the property in maybe 2017, 2018, the Park Police initiated opening the armory door and had the lock broken off and opened the door and found a bunch of rifles from World War II. So the armory was still stocked with rifles. Park Police took custody of those rifles, and the door remained unlocked, and the armory empty, and the property sold. So some of what we do, kind of a fun historical thing that I wanted to share, and I don't have anything else. Thanks.
Thank you very much. That was interesting. Okay, matters from the board. Anybody have anything?
Yes, I do. I participated in Puzzle Mania yesterday, and what a great event that was. And wow, does the building look wonderful. And that large room, it doesn't look like a church anymore. So that was really fun to see. I haven't been in that room for a while. And staff was raving. I was talking to Emma about the haunted hayride and how it was sold out, and the kids absolutely loved it. So I just want to say a huge kudos to staff for creative programming and for getting our young teens involved. I knew we could do it, and we're doing it, and I'm so proud of us for that. And the Parents' Night Out, I heard wonderful things about that. We had 30 parents that had participated. You can basically dock your kids, and they're entertained and go do stuff. So thank you for that. Marketing, it was really, you had really fun factoids this month. I loved reading that you've exceeded the average rates for opening of emails for the last 17 months. Do you know how you're doing that?
You know, we're being very selective and committing to once a month, and that's our update. We're not spamming people on a weekly basis, so we're being good caretakers of our subscribers, I believe. And when people open it, they know that it's going to be things that are pertinent for that month that they need to take quick action on. So I think it's just a commitment to those two things that's made a difference.
Awesome. And I'm really looking forward to the website update reveal.
too.
That'll be something to see. And when do you think that's going to be ready?
They're pretty committed that it will be mid-December. There is a little bit of hope that it could be before the launch of the Winter Spring Guide, but we are hopeful that the mid-December is very realistic.
Thank you. I would like to see us consider moving to a smaller location. I think our audience has gotten quite a bit smaller, so I think coming in the new year, I think it would be time to look for moving to a new location. And I also think that it's time to stop with the security. I would like to see that go on the agenda for the next meeting. I think if people were listening and making eye contact over there, Fred, I think really and truly it's time to get rid of the security. The cost is unjustified, and the need is unjustified. I think we have a wonderful community, and it's time to stop with security. That's it for me. Thank you.
Any other matters from the board?
No, I would just like to add to that. I think, we were talking maybe the possibility of West Beach, but how about the Rotary Building?
So one thing we have to be cognizant of is that we actually have programs going on at night. Starting in January, we will be bumping something out of here on Monday evenings. And we might have other things going on at the other facilities as well. Kurt and I will check what our facility availability is and have that at the next meeting to discuss. Worst case scenario is we go back to the administration building.
Okay, we're adjourned.